Hi, Satyen. I am so delighted to be here with you today. It is just my sincere pleasure to be here with the amazing Satyen Raja, the private transformational mentor, advisor, and confidant to the powerful and influential. He is a remarkable living synthesis of Eastern wisdom and Western practicality. Satyen combines the power of the warrior and the wisdom of the sage to inspire audiences and leaders worldwide into their highest impact and personal fulfillment. And I know you have invested, 35 years of study, rigorous study and practice in creating enlightened business growth and in developing higher consciousness. He is the leading authority on expanding success while serving the greater good without sacrificing the joys of personal life. I really love that. So Satyen, you have impacted, 100,000 students conservatively from over 50 countries, all around the world with your global human potential company, Warrior Sage. And Satyen leads private one-on-one retreats for CEOs, high-impact individuals, executive teams, and he is a corporate cultural advisor and trainer for elite companies. His fearless and heartfelt style transforms your limitations into strengths and your life into peak existence. I'm really glad to have you here, Satyen.
Oh,
Such a pleasure.
I love you. We've had such wonderful connections over, I don't know, what's it, a year or two now?
Yeah.
And today you're looking even more exceptionally beautiful and radiant, I have to say.
Oh my goodness.
You have a heart of gold and a power of service. And I'm just really glad to be here and to be aligned with you and to be doing the great work,
Well, I love the work that you're doing, and I would really love if you would tell our viewers how you work with the people that your clientele. And I've had the privilege of sitting in on one of your trainings, and it's just really so profound. And I do believe that you bring your people into a much deeper state of peace.
The essence of this warrior sage philosophy is that we have within us a natural warrior. And the warrior for me is the part that's connected to our integrity, our impeccability. It's connected to our right dharma in the world. What are we meant to do? What are we supposed to do? What is the highest calling and mission and vision? And the warrior is the one within us that activates that, brings that out. Because we can have such great ideas, you know this, MarBeth. We can have a desire to make a difference, but unless we activate it and unless we bring it forth into life, it's just going to sit inside our own heart shelf. And actually, instead of causing peace, when we have a gift, an offering to give the world, we actually create dis-ease. We create a sense of alienation, loneliness. We create a sense of separation simply by staying and keeping our gifts within. So the warrior is that part that says, let's move forward. Let's bring ourselves out, even though it's scary, even though there's 101, 201, 1,001 reasons why you can't, you step forward anyways.
That's really beautiful. And I know that you also are a martial artist, and you bring that into your work as well. And so how do you achieve peace through martial arts?
That's the paradox. All the great Zen masters, spiritual philosophy always has paradoxes. And this is why it's warrior and sage. I believe the sage within us is the part that's connected to love, the part that's eternal, timeless, always, never been hurt, doesn't need healing. That is the source of our wisdom, source of our truth, source of our magnificence, source of our magnanimousness in our service. So I believe these particular archetypes evoked and unified in ourselves, the warrior, as well as the sage, which is the wisdom keeper, the wise one within. When we have both of these fully active, living, breathing, energized in our system, in our psychology, in our body, in our mind, in our hearts, then what happens is that peace is generated. We become a vessel for peace. We become a vessel and a transmission for people finding their own peace, because we're finding and discovering and living and expressing and demonstrating what peace is for us. That creates a ripple, a transformation, and it creates a magnetism, a true magnetism when we're sitting in the heart of our own shining power and where we're meant to be in the world. So really, to me, it's our time now, more than any other time in history, to find what that magnificence is, to find our own unique signature of offering the gifts that we have in our life. And by living it fully, without recoil, without fear, without staying on the shelf any longer. Doing that, peace goes from a concept to an actualization, to a transmission, to a movement.
Absolutely, and I know from having created this peace experiment, this world peace experiment, I feel like I've stepped into of course it's peace, but I've stepped into a greater place of inner peace because it just feels so aligned with my purpose. So I understand exactly what you're saying. It's so beautiful to do that, and I feel so much greater because I'm doing, something that feels of service to many other people.
We're going to have so many things. All of us, every human has got all types of challenges, right? We've got the daily challenges.
Yes.
We've got 1,001 forces trying to knock us off the mantle in the centeredness of peace, true peace. For me, the way you asked me, how do I approach peace and finding and cultivating peace? The way I experience reality, and you asked, how do I do this in my work? Well, basically anything that's not peaceful, any experience, challenges we have in relationships, challenges we have in finances, challenges we have with family, with health, with life, whatever it is. If you look at it, it all boils down to 4 elements in our consciousness. The images that we have, so we have got something that's disturbing us. There's images that go along with that. There's thoughts that go along with that disturbing or stressful circumstance. There's emotions and feelings that are in our system regarding that. And then there's body sensations like tightness, contracture, shallow breathing, tension in our muscles. Mm-hmm. So for me, peace is really the flowering open of the images, the thoughts, the emotions, and the body sensations, which are trapped by some type of tension, struggle, strain, someone pulling on energy that they don't need. And so how do we remove this? How do we get rid of it? For me, the first step is finding peace, is to take a look at, where am I investing my units of attention? Where is there things in the newspapers that are sucking my energy, that getting me riled up and upset and angry? Or it could be politicians, it could be economy, it could be environment. There's 10,001 reasons to not be at peace right now.
Sure.
And they're always glamoring and clamoring for our attention and our units of attention. And I believe that our attention right now that we have, this presencing that we're offering each other through listening or watching, that's our highest and most valuable commodity. So where we place this either generates deeper peace, or it creates more chaos and confusion and strife. So if the gas prices are going up and down and I'm fixated on the gas prices, there's nothing I can do about that. So how am I going to get peace by looking at the gas prices up and down all day long? It's only going to cause struggle. At the end of the year, if the 5 cents more, at the end of the year, it might cost $100, $200 more. It's much better that I take that energy, or maybe 500. If you're in a profession where you're like a driver, truck driver that needs that, then maybe a couple of thousand, it's a lot of money for some people. But if you take that energy that's going into the grumbling and into the strife, and you put it on, how can I make an extra $200, $2,000, $5,000 a year? And you put it on the creative element rather than the destructive element vying for our attention, then we become the master of our own equilibrium. I become, you become, we become the master of that by watching where our attention grows.
Absolutely. I have to ask you this. Something came up. I was teaching my miracles class last night, a miracle mastermind, and I became conscious of the the general unconscious of the whole population. You know, this whole subset of unconsciousness that's all around us, and that there are elements there that are just raging. There's just so much rage under there. And what I was realizing was that as we stand in our peace as a warrior sage, as you suggest, then we are influencing, as in our peace, we're influencing that unconscious strain and actually calming it to some degree.
Exactly,
So,
right?
yeah.
Exactly. There's a lot of suffering in the world, in our neighborhood, next door, in our own household, in society, all the way around. And like I was sharing, these life problems, individual, local, to bigger problems, whatever they are, each of these problems have a Velcro to them.
Yeah.
They have a stickiness to them.
Yeah.
It brings our attention. When we're driving and an ambulance goes by or police car, woo, our attention, presence goes there. Everyone slows down. Everyone's heartbeat raises a little. Everyone feels there's a lack of peace. It feels a feeling of, you know, wow, and it draws and calls your attention because of that. So, Matt, what else has got the fire lights going on all the way around? The newspapers, the radio, the TV, the advertisements, the Facebook, this horrible, this, that, this and that. If you feed that, you will become the result of what you eat. If you're eating that, it's emotional, spiritual, psychological eating when your attention in that, and then your body, mind becomes the demonstration of the result of what you've been eating. Not just the food, but the mind, the emotions, the energy, the vibration. So the first thing that I like to do is remove myself. Where am I getting Velcroed? Where have I been Velcroed to some issue, concern, movement, for this, against that, especially if it's good people against something? That's a tricky one. That doesn't cause more peace. In fact, unconsciously in the long term, it causes more and more division and strife. Yeah, the Taoists, the ancient Taoists, the wisdom keepers of the old, they said, learn to unvelcro, unhook, lower the importance. Let these things just, doesn't mean be an idiot and a fool, just lower the importance on these things and then start bringing your attention on what moves you, what does bring you peace. So for me,
it's a matter of being vigilant, right? And really being aware what makes me peaceful and what disturbs my peace, and just focusing on what is going to create greater peace for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then from that peace, from the groundedness in peace, if there's some real issue to handle, some real life circumstance, personal or professional or big picture societal, it's from the peace that the deeper impact is made in huge waves. You know, Mahatma Gandhiji, even in the midst of terrible civil unrest in India, there was a time once a week that he would pull himself away and go into deep personal retreat and quietude. He would pull away even if people were knocking on the door. Gandhiji, we need your advice for this. This horrible thing is going. He would pull away, go to his inner sanctuary, and realize, oh, I must come to my own center of tranquility, connection with spirit, connection with soul. And then for the rest of the 6 days per week, he would go out and he would be sourced in the depth of this peace in which to influence the unrest, rather than be unrest, aiming to influence unrest.
Well, when you're in a state of unrest, you're apt to make the wrong decisions. You're apt to do them for the wrong reasons. You're reacting rather than acting from that place of peaceful knowing the right act, what you need to be doing in the situation that's going to be more powerful, more purposeful, and to create greater peace, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
And
I
you're a
love it.
demonstration of this. And
I'm
you're a
sorry.
demonstration of this.
Oh, thank you. I try, although I have to say that I don't always, not always as peaceful. Everybody sees me doing meditations and being peaceful, but every once in a while I am human and I do slip. I just have to say that.
Me too. I mean, the other day, I've got two young adults, teenagers, right? Like 21 and 19, and I can be at peace with most things, but when it's up and close and it's people that we love the most, and you feel in your heart there's something off or something needs to be addressed, it's very easy to get triggered. And so I think peace is not only something to attain, I also believe it's a discipline and a virtue and a value. Peace is a value to live to continue to grow into, and to develop and to cultivate, not as a one-time thing, but as a lifelong cultivation, a lifelong love affair with peace in itself.
Yes.
When you see all the, there's so much out there in the success worlds of crushing it, making it, being somebody, and just even think of the term crushing it. It means in its peak performance, doing well, being success oriented is all great. But if it's at the cost of tranquility and equilibrium, sooner or later, it fires back. It has to shoot you back when
And it
you're
was at the cost of other people too.
exactly.
It was there, and we were just Harrison was listening to. I won't mention his name, but he's a big name in marketing, and he was just talking about how he just would crush his competitors literally because he felt he could serve the people better, but it just didn't come from a place of love. It was really coming from a different place, from a very competitive place, and it bothered me because I like to come from I don't want to judge, but I
Yes,
like to come from a place of love. And I feel that with collaboration, which seems to be where things are happening more now, like with the Evolutionary Business Council that we're both involved with, things are coming from a place of collaboration rather than from competition. And I think that's really a higher place to be reacting from.
exactly. Higher and deeper and better for us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that way
There was this
everybody's
there
a
was this
winner.
beautiful saying. I want to share this saying that I saw the other day. It's so beautiful. Um, a saint was asked, "What is anger?" He gave a beautiful answer. It is punishment we give to ourselves for somebody else's mistake.
Oh, I love that. Yeah.
So when I'm upset at someone, when I'm feeling angry, I'm like, someone else is doing something, but it's that I'm punishing myself for that. So it's it's recognizing that depth, the depth of who we are. It's recognizing that we could always be more connected. And I believe that the universal solve is connection, contact. When we put
Yes.
our attention on others as conscious beings with choice, as divine beings with choice, even in the midst of crunchiness, even in the midst of disdain, even in the midst of anger. Okay, let me find the little smidgen where I can actually see this other as a conscious spiritual being with choice, and just making that wave, that connection, then whatever content, whatever upset, whatever stuff is there, I believe will start to purify because the contact is there. But it'll never purify. The real heart of the matter will never get dealt to. The strife will continue because there's a lack of contact from divine being to divine being. So
Yes.
when that divine being, that contact is there, we can make it through anything and come back to the depth of peace. I really believe that. I've experienced it.
Absolutely. To recognize the namaste, the divine in you, in me salutes the divine in you, and recognize that divinity, and also to take responsibility when we're angry. Is this something that's in me that I'm projecting on that other person? because we do that a lot. You know, very often if people aren't comfortable with something that's within them, they project it, you know, and then they can get angry at that other person and they've wiped their hands of anything messy. But the truth is that anger is just an opportunity for us to look at things from a different perspective, to actually ask for love rather than, you know, how can I see this through a lens of love?
And this is the warrior. This is all easier said than done. And someone's got to do it. And if we don't do it, who's going to be in charge of our peace? No one else. Very few people care about our peace. We must make that our virtue and value and hold it so that, I'm not going to lose my peace over this. I'm not going to lose my peace over this.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So we're taking responsibility as warriors, being vigilant, and being aware of what is going to make us more peaceful in the moment.
Exactly.
We have that choice. I love it. So do you have any I know you do, you have wonderful wise words to share with our viewers?
You know, with anger, we brought up about anger because it's the other side of peace, or one of the other sides of peace. For me, there's 3 stages of anger and 3 stages of peace. First stage anger, you're angry because someone did something wrong to you in your own estimation and you're lashing out, you don't like it. It's a me moment. In Buddhism, we try to suppress, and in other forms, in human psychology and spirituality, we aim to suppress that anger or look at it and witness it and notice its root. That's second stage, where you're not just lashing out, you're witnessing, you're conscious, you're breathing, you're self-recognizing, okay, I'm angry. Just that self-awareness helps to calm it, and you start to look at it. What's in it about me? How is this about me rather than the other person? That's wisdom. But there are times for third stage anger. Third stage anger is when the pain of something is so deep in the world, you see harm happening to someone, that your heart's calling. It's actually love's anger.
Right. And
that's rare, but there is moments of love's anger where it comes up, where you just know that's wrong. That's not right for the world. Don't do that. And it's not based on selfishness or just me or what you're not getting. And it's not based on just witnessing and letting anger pass by. But it's in those moments where it's like you see someone doing harm to someone and you're willing to stop them. Or that's love's anger. And I think in our quest for deepening of our peace, we should also give love's anger space, so that the quietude of our peace can develop deeper, because it has the ability to come out from that quietude and act as the ferociousness of love, which may not look like peace in the moment, but will certainly start to bloom and birth peace, because it was sourced in the heart and not in selfishness.
That's beautiful, and I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because it's very true. And it's not that it's something that's very common. You know, we see a lot of anger that's coming up for other reasons, but this is that I love that ferociousness of love. That's very powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm so excited. You're going to be leading a meditation today. That's really wonderful. I'm so looking forward to it.
We'll do a peace meditation.
Yes. I love it. Thank you so much, Satyen, for joining me today. And I'm very excited to share you with our tribe. And I know everyone is just going to love you as much as I do.
Thank you, love. I'm looking forward to it too. And everyone who's listening and watching, all my love's embrace. And ultimately, I feel that our soul is peace.
Yes. Our soul is peace. How beautiful. Oh, thank you, Satyen.